Hi and welcome back to the Evolution of Success podcast. On today's show we have Anil Chandwani back with us. So I touched base with Anil over the weekend and we had a brief chat. One of the reasons for my call with him was that various different things were starting to become really heightened and much more real for me personally, and I just wanted to touch base with him and see if that's what he was feeling as well. I know I have said that I was really busy over the past few weeks, and what not much had changed in my life, to be honest, because I work from home and I float around. But whenever it came to the weekend and I finished up work and I had a shower, and what I would usually do is go out for dinner or make plans for the weekend, I wasn't able to do that. And I was thinking, I'm in Northern Ireland, which is essentially the UK, which we're on a much more severe lockdown now than what I had been previously. So I got on the phone to Anil and I called him and said, look, this feels really much weirder. And how are you feeling about this since the last time that we chatted? Anil, thank you so much for coming back on for a chat. And I'm just looking forward to hearing your thoughts on the progression of everything.
Thank you, Matthew. It's always an honor. We are all in this together. So anytime you feel free to reach out as you do. And I'm very happy to hop on this podcast with you to share what I'm doing personally, what I'm hearing from around the world, and some easy and simple meditation techniques that can be very, very useful for people.
Yeah, so I personally have now been directly affected by people that have got, they aren't really well right now and are being sort of treated by doctors and in ICU units and various different things. And the other day, as I said, like, I did have a bit of a crap day. It was one of those ones when I just was sort of thinking, God, I feel our lives are sort of, we're losing control here a bit. And what is it? So what would you advise me to do whenever I'm in that situation? Because many other people I know right now are in that, and maybe even much deeper than that, haven't been able to just get on the phone with someone and try to talk them through it.
Matthew, it is very important to realize that the hysteria, the hypnosis at the mass scale, it is a reality, without a doubt. The virus is a reality, the danger is a reality, but let's keep it in perspective. Death is a reality, and 151,000 people die every day. And yesterday, 3,000 people died because of COVID-19. And that puts the ratio at 0.02%. So realistically, death is not an issue here. Death happens, and death will continue to happen, so does birth, So what I mean is, with everyone keeping account of death, the focus has shifted to death rather than recovery. So the first thing I would, what I'm doing myself is reading the numbers, how many people are recovering on a daily basis. I'm looking for the positive and the good news here. So let's put that in perspective now. Of course, everyone will be impacted and affected in a different way from this crisis. There are people that are far, like hunger, when it happened in Ethiopia, and 700,000 people were dying of hunger. But it was so far away from home. It was never going to happen in America, so no one cared about that ever. None of the famines and hungers, there was a concert, so we all watched the concert and ate at $10. So let's look at on a global level. So a lot of people are suffering at a global level. There is panic and danger at the global level. Then if you draw the second circle within that circle, this is your work-related friends and their friends and family. So this is the second circle. Of course, you might know someone who works with you, your coworker whose uncle or father passed away, like you were sharing. That is still closer to home, but still far away. That happens regularly, but we don't get to know. It is never the case that somebody who's working with us, they're not experiencing death or some sort of an emergency in their life. Then there's another circle. Within that circle is of our close friends and family members. Of course, if COVID-19 has hit in that circle, if someone in your immediate family and friends are impacted by it, then of course it hits you a little deeper. Then of course the deepest, the inner core is you. Are you impacted by it? So I think the important thing, Matthew, is to keep things in perspective, that nothing new is happening. Of course, if you are impacted, you must do what you have to do to take care of yourself medically and in isolation. And of course, if it's in the second circle, third circle and fourth circle. So the point being, don't let the global and the mass hysteria and hypnosis and panic seep into you. And that's what I am doing. Be a very beautiful, simple meditation that leads you to gratitude, that leads you to breathing and the space of gratitude that I'm okay. And if you are okay, then only you can breathe in the pain and suffering of someone else and send them healing energy. Then if you are okay, you can breathe in suffering and breathe out the healing energy to the universe. And those are simple meditations, but they cannot begin if you are in panic and stress mode yourself. If you are in a healthy and good space, you can breathe in energetic suffering of someone else and send out a healing energy. So this is a simple meditation that I'm doing. Yeah, and I recommend to anyone. It's a very beautiful meditation. It's a very easy meditation. Begins with taking in your suffering, feeling your pain, and first converting that into love and gratitude and a healing energy, then doing the same for the others.
Yeah, I think that's great, Anil, and it definitely is. Like, meditation is what got me back on track this weekend, and it did sort of bring me back into gratitude, which I was starting to feel really grateful for all the different things that were happening again. I had a group call with my cousin. I've had people reach out to me that have been listening to the podcast that I haven't spoke to and or seen in like years, 3, 4, even 10 years, and even that I was very grateful for over the past like 24 to 48 hours. It's been really nice to have people like reach out, and at this time I find that I am connecting with people that I hadn't seen in a while before as well. Is that something that you're doing as well, or how's that going?
What's happening, Matthew, personally for me, as I was sharing with you last time, that not much has changed. I spend a lot of time in solitude with myself when I'm back home in Los Angeles after traveling to so many countries and being with so many people. So personally, for me, not much has changed. But what I'm hearing from a lot of friends who are reaching out for help and support is this. See, what has become available suddenly that was never available is time. Now, time is what we never had, and time is what we all have suddenly. Now, time can be a killer. Time can be a killer, unfortunately. We don't know what to do with time. So it's very easy to be busy. Most of us are busy because we don't know what to do with time. Now we have the time. Can we really sit with the time, the truth of time? If we can practice experiencing the reality of time, understanding that we really only have one thing, and that is time, we begin there, sit with it, really experience the truth of this time. So now what you do with it, time can bite, so we turn on the television, we are doing crazy things. I think it's great to connect with people. I think it's great, I'm talking to my family more, I'm talking to my friends more, but we still have 1,440 minutes each day. 24 hours is a long time, Matthew. If you're sleeping for 8 hours, you still have 16 hours with yourself for the first time. So if you really do your time management, if you dedicate time to really start writing down, thinking through what is important for you, how do you want to redefine what's coming up for you. So if you use the time for yourself in some creative way, learning some new skills or planning something about the future, laying solid boundaries for future development, outlining some concrete steps for inner change, outer change. So anyone who's learning, anyone who will use time creatively will have much easier time dealing with this gap. And that's what I'm also doing at the moment.
Yeah, that's great. Like, I think that, yeah, with you just saying that, that was my problem. I had too much time to myself over the weekend, and that's why my thoughts ran away with me. I did actually watch this movie. The guys in the office were talking about a movie on Netflix, and I started to watch it, and it was crazy. It was, I forget what it's called, but it was just a really random movie, but I really enjoyed it, and it did sort of inspire me to think, at that moment I thought, God, I'd love to make a movie like this. This is the type of movie I would love to make next. And I haven't actually thought about making a film in about 10 months, because we were just working on Street Leagues, a documentary, and it was consuming a lot of time, and with everything else that's going on, it's busy, and I haven't actually went back to what my passion is, and it's making film. So I hadn't went back to that, and because I had that whole day to myself, pretty much looking out the window, really nice view, sun was shining, it was great. But then I started to watch a movie, and only when you were talking about what comes up whenever you have time, I was thinking I actually had went back to what I'm really passionate about, which is making film, and had come up with this movie idea that I wanted to work with, and I voice noted it into the group with the guys, and just said, look, this is the movie that I think we should work towards possibly next. How do you feel about that? So that actually, that actually makes so much sense, what you just said there.
It's fantastic, Matthew. If you think about it, it's such a brilliant time right now to, do a wider perspective on one's life. What's important for me, what's important in my life right now, and really start laying solid foundation for things. We have the time, right? So if the entire day is lost in same activities, inactivity in doing, again, my point being, it's very important time to step back and really feel the truth of that I have some time for myself. If we do something with the time, if I do something with this time for myself, then this becomes a gift. And once it becomes a gift, it becomes fun. There is more playfulness, and there is like, wow. So of course it doesn't make the problem disappear, but exactly the way you said right now, that it became a gift for you, and that's another very, very lovely technique.
Well, look, I mean, at even during the week, in the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we have actually collectively as a company helped other organizations and tried to help as many, or have put out a call for organizations that we will help. So basically, after I'd done that, and we had done any work that we possibly could do, there's not much more I could do. Whenever I'm watching the news, I want to think, how can I help? How can I do more here? But there isn't actually much that I can do. And it did end up where I ended up sitting in that time, and that ended up happening. It's I think it's just like we're all, as you said, the start of this, we're all in this together. And I do think that, I think people are having these moments at all times, and I do think it's important to sort of talk through them quite as honestly as possible, so that, I don't know, when people get value exactly just from what you got.
See, all these cliched quotes about you change yourself and you have changed the world, change begins with you. So these are the real times, let's try and do this now in the real practical way. Can we be the role models? Can we be the example? Can we start using this time now? Talk about another thing that's coming up for a lot of people is it's forcing us to spend a lot of time alone or with the family. You're locked in, you are actually in with the family, the people you live with, you are forced to spend a lot of time with them. So now again, feeling the truth of these relationships, whatever they are, we are very easily able to avoid our relationships by running away to work and running away to parties. Now there is no work and there are no parties, so you are at home with your loved ones, or you're home alone, and it's a good time to see, what is the truth of that, and doing whatever one can for making some conscious effort to enjoy. If we make anything fun, playful, things become easy. So I think if we focus on two things, time and relationships, which for it's showing up for everybody, and we start looking at it, how to be more creative with that, how to be more honest with it, how to be more truthful with it, this time can become a gift, because the virus will pass. We all know that. The world will begin slowly and surely, it will begin again. So I think this time, if you think about the last crash, 2008, of course, it was not so severe in terms of fear and panic. It was different. Look at some of the most incredible and amazing companies that came out of it. So I promise you, the right people, the intelligent people, the people who are grounded and centered are right now thinking about what and how to respond to this, what new opportunities are there. after just Google and research number of companies that came up. I mean, Facebooks and Ubers, and they were all in the baby stages, and see how they took off. How the casual food changed, the high-end burgers. Not burgers came as a food, not as a fast food. So many things were adjusted. Many models, old models, came down, and new ideas and models came up. So I think the right people, the people who are using their time appropriately, this gift appropriately, or finding their gift in this time, will be the winners.
Yeah, I know. Well, I do think it is a time to be innovative. It always is. Even with Bankhouse Productions, my film production company, we got voted the most innovative business of 2015. Through all the last sort of crash and coming out of it, and I was sort of really glad to be tagged with that sort of title, because that award, because that's what I do really feel. I feel like you can be innovative in every single aspect of your life, whether you're, changing around your living room to fit in a new sofa, whether you're, no matter what it is, the word can fit into so many different things. It doesn't just associate with business, it can associate with where you live, how you sort of manage your day, how you manage your time,
Yes, absolutely. I think what you're sharing and what I'm hearing you say is phenomenal, Matthew. I think I also feel it's very, very important. My daughter has grown up, but I think it's very important for the age group, the young age group, needs to be addressed. I don't think it's the financial stimulus they need, but the younger generation should be addressed to. They should be talked to. They should be given tools to go through this time. If the adults are scrambling so much, you can only imagine. And we can learn so much from them. We can learn so much from their laughter and creativity, and many, many fun and new projects like you're sharing will keep coming up.
Yeah. Well, that's brilliant. Well, look, thank you so much for popping on again and having a chat with us. And you will be on and off again. And we have talked about, we are going to do a live meditation with you at some point whenever we get around to it. I know you're really busy. So look, thank you very much, and we will organise that. And it was great to chat to you as always, Anil.
Always a pleasure, and thank you, Matthew. An honor, always. Thank you.